In Formula One, legends are often defined by their victories, but some are remembered for the brilliance that never had a chance to shine. This is the story of Tom Pryce, the Welsh wonder, a driver of breathtaking talent, lost to tragedy before the world could see what he was truly capable of. Born in the quiet village of Ruthin, Wales in 1949, Tom Pryce didn't come from motorsport royalty, but what he had was raw, natural ability. He cut his teeth in the usual way, Formula Ford and Formula 3, making an impression not with money or connections, but with fearless speed and car control that bordered on the supernatural. By 1974, his potential was undeniable. Pryce joined Formula One with Token before quickly moving to Shadow, a small, underfunded team where he would spend the rest of his short career. It didn't take long for those in the paddock to start talking. He was humble, quiet, even shy. But behind the wheel, ferocious. In the wet, he was a magician. His pole position at the 1975 British Grand Prix in Silverstone stunned the field, a wet-weather masterclass that left even seasoned veterans in awe. Pryce seemed destined for greatness. Podiums followed. The big teams noticed. March 5th, 1977, the South African Grand Prix at Kyalami, a day that began like any other and ended in one of the sport's most horrifying tragedies. On lap 22, Pryce's teammate Renzo Zorzi pulled off the track with a small engine fire. Two young marshals ran across the live circuit with fire extinguishers. One of them, a 19-year-old named Frederick Janssen van Vuren, sprinted directly into the path of Pryce's car at nearly 170 miles per hour. Pryce struck the marshal head-on. The fire extinguisher he was carrying smashed into Pryce's helmet with devastating force. Both were killed instantly. There were no replays, no social media, just silence. There was no tribute, no minute of silence. The race continued. And yet, for those who saw him drive, who understood what had been lost, something was broken that day. Tom Pryce never won a Grand Prix. He never stood on the top step. But his legend lives on, not in stats, but in the reverence of fellow drivers. Niki Lauda called him one of the fastest he'd ever seen. James Hunt believed he had world champion written all over him. Even decades later, in the corners of Silverstone and Monza, in quiet conversations, his name still lingers. The man who could have been Britain's next great champion. Tom Pryce was more than a tragedy. He was a reminder that talent alone isn't always enough. That in this sport, fate often has the final word. But in the hearts of those who watched him dance in the rain, who knew what he could do behind the wheel, Tom Pryce was, and will always be, a legend. It's one of the sport's great tragedies that the world never got to see him reach his true potential. Join us next time as we dive into the thrilling and often tragic tales of motorsport legends, exploring the stories that defined an era and the drivers who dared to dream.